What's good, guys? Time for a deal short. So I'm pretty sure that you guys all are aware of what's going on with the Signal chat and these really high up government officials, cabinet members, and the Houthi strikes and all that. Hey man, I'm just gonna say it. Pete Hegseth should be fired. He's not the only one, but he's the one that presented the highly classified, highly sensitive information pertaining to the military strikes on the Houthis. And the fact that they're in Signal, which they shouldn't be, and the fact that they have a journalist in there for whatever reason was added to this chat. You know, all that aside, I worked as a federal employee. I worked with the Federal Aviation Administration as an air traffic controller, and all government employees every single year have to take this computer-based instruction course about being secure with government information. And they talk to you about the laws and they tell you what would happen to you if you were to violate these rules, break these laws, whether intentionally or unintentionally, if you made a mistake or you did it on purpose. And it took hours to get through this thing. And we have to go through it every single year. So it's clear what should happen. Now, is anything going to happen? No. Why? These people are loyal to Trump, and that's all Trump cares about. And then you have this MAGA and this MAGA thing, and they're going to want to sit there and say, but Joe Biden, but Hillary Clinton, but. Nah, man. I was watching Breaking Points today, and Sager talked about this. This same administration is going around firing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of government employees, saying we just need the best of the best. We want to do away with the mediocre people, no more DEI. And here you have, your own cabinet officials who are so incompetent that they don't even know who's in these unauthorized chats where they're talking about highly sensitive American military operations. Hedgecliff should go, and he's not the only one. And honestly, they should really be looking at jail time. But let's check this out, man. Here's a couple. Here's a report from CNN. I'm not going to bring up the breaking points thing. I think I'll do that maybe later. But man, listen to this, guys. Just check this out.
Actually applies to gross negligence. What it says, it's section 793, if anyone wants to look it up, but it says that it is a crime to remove sensitive information from its proper place of custody grossly negligently. So I think in terms of the question you asked, what else would we need to know? First of all, is this information sensitive enough that it qualifies? It certainly seems the answer there is yes. It seems this information related to a planned military strike. Second of all, was it removed from or kept outside of its proper place of custody? Signal chat, I'm not a super expert on this, but seems to me to be not the place where this information is supposed to be stored. And then the trickiest question is, was it grossly negligent of the players to do this? And I want to be clear, the gross negligence part wouldn't necessarily be the inadvertently inviting Jeffrey Goldberg, the journalist, into this. I mean, that certainly would be one of the aspects of it. But I think the real question about negligence is just maintaining this Signal chat among top U.S. officials. Would that itself be grossly negligent? So there's a lot of facts we still need to know, but that's the law that people usually look at in situations like this.
To get those.
And he's 100% correct on that. I mean, if I take a government computer, a FAA computer or a government computer, and I leave work with it, and I allow that computer to get infected somehow or stolen, I'm responsible. That's, that's my head on the chopping block. If I bring in a device and get behind the firewall and I upload that device to government systems, and within that device is some sort of program or some sort of, something that gets behind the firewall and wreaks havoc, and they track it back to me, I'm in trouble. I'm the one who brought that in there. You're not supposed to do that stuff. And as far as using Signal or Telegram or WhatsApp, you can't even upload those programs on government computers, on, certain government computers and government phones. They won't even allow you to do that. You can't do it. So the fact that they're doing this thing on Signal, on their own personal devices, which is basically zero security. It's insane.
Those answers, someone would have to investigate. Who would be the body investigating here?
Well, that could be the big catch-22 here. Ordinarily, the Justice Department would take a look at this. There's a National Security Division. I think there's a 0% chance Pam Bondi authorizes an investigation, a criminal investigation of this case. You'd then look to Congress. You saw Lauren Fox reporting in the last segment about how that might go. I mean, the Republicans control both houses. They certainly have the authority to launch a robust investigation. They have subpoena power, but that's the Republican Party. They're the majority now. There's really not a whole heck of a lot the Democrats can do as the minority party. For example, they can't issue subpoenas for the most part as the minority party. So I think that's the big question. Who's going to be in position to meaningfully dig down and investigate this? I certainly would not look at the Justice Department, given what we know already about leadership there.
Joining me now to talk about all of this is CNN military analyst and retired Air Force Colonel Cedric Leighton and Sabrina Singh, a former deputy Pentagon press secretary. I'm going to.
And before we listen to this segment right here, because I want you guys to hear what the retired Air Force Colonel has to say about all this. We know that this administration is not going to investigate this at all. There might be an announcement that some lower staffer or something was fired or resigned or something like that. They might try to pin it on someone, but they're not going to go after anyone. No one's going to face any criminal charges. There's not going to be an investigation. They're not going to find out what other platforms they might be using or how long they've had this Signal account set up and what other information has been passed around. They're not going to do any of that, and that is a shame. That is a shame. That's where we are politically right now. That's just where we are. You know, like all the administrations have done it in the past. It's just this administration is extremely blatant in your face with it. And it just continues to just blast away at America. I mean, that's just like, it's the world we're living in, guys. I don't care if you're on the left or you're on the right. It doesn't matter. You guys need to look at what's going on here. This is destructive to America. And all of us Americans, we're in boat America. We're all on the same ship. This is our ship, and we're out here, and the boat is getting plugged full of holes, and everyone is sitting around arguing and saying it's fake news and arguing about how to fix the holes. Meanwhile, the ship is going down. That's where we are right now, guys. It is what it is. It's time to wake up and see what's going on here. What can be done about it? Man, I don't know, but let's continue.
Let's start with you, Colonel. All right, every Republican we just heard Manu Raju talk to said this was a mistake. It was a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. So, Colonel, if you were still serving and you were responsible for an intelligence leaks like this, could this also be a crime or at least something to be court-martialed over?
Yes, absolutely, Sarah. Good morning. There is a very clear provision within the UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, as well as under the Espionage Act. So in those particular cases, if I were to do something like that, I would have not only been, lost my job, I would have been court-martialed probably, or at the very least disciplined in such a way that I probably would have had to leave the service or at least potentially be reduced in rank. There's even the potential for prison time for this kind of thing. So careless behavior like this does create a lot of problems, and it certainly does create problems for those who serve in the military if they engage in behavior that is as careless as this.
Yeah. So,
and like what dude was saying, like if he was as a full bird colonel, he was a guy who did what the Secretary of Defense did, and he was involved in this Signal chat, and he had his command staff in there, and they were passing all this information around, and it turns out that there's a journalist in there or somebody who's not authorized in that chat. That colonel would have been relieved of command immediately. That colonel would have been court-martialed. That colonel would have been demoted. It would have been a reduction in rank, and that colonel would have done time, period. I don't care what branch he was in, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, or Space Force. That is what would happen, period. They would have made an absolute example of that colonel, like you know better. Simple as that. And we're talking about a colonel in the United States military. This is the Secretary of Defense. The problem is, I was talking to my buddy Jay Swans. The thing is this, man. Like, politics is it's a profession these days, and you have to be a serious-minded individual, and there's a lot you need to learn. What Trump has done, he just brought people in who aren't professional, obviously, who don't have the mental wherewithal or the capacity to and the responsibility to hold these positions, and they're sitting there. And the only thing that Donald Trump cares about is that they're loyal to him. These people don't have to worry about any kind of prosecution or anything because they know that Donald Trump is going to write them a pardon. That's it. That's the end all to be all right there. They're not going anywhere. Right? They're not going anywhere. So long as they stay loyal to Trump and say what Trump wants them to say and play to his, feelings or whatnot, his ego, then they're good to go. No matter how many American service members get hurt, no matter how many of our CIA operatives and our spies on the ground and our assets out there in the real world get hurt and get compromised because these people are loose with the information. It doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to Trump, just so long as those people are loyal to him. So, midterms, guys, midterms, right? That's just all you can do. Midterms, vote in moderate Republicans, vote in moderate Democrats, get rid of the MAGA people. That's one way to kind of put the brakes on this thing. And then in 2028, find someone, hopefully there's someone out there who cares about America and is willing to take on the awesome responsibility and the incredibly difficult job of being president of the United States. Because by the time we get to 2028, bro, America is going to be just barely holding on, if we're holding on at all. So, and you guys out there listening to me, comments are open. I definitely want to hear what you have to say. This is completely unheard of. And for all you MAGA people who start getting crazy and all that, just ask yourself one question. If this happened under Barack Obama, if this happened under Bill Clinton, if this happened under Joe Biden, how would you react then? All right. I'm DL Saint, man. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Peace.